Hello and welcome back to Photorec.tv and one of my favorite annual traditions that we do here, the year-end slideshow. This isn't actually the year-end slideshow. This is my request for you to pick your favorite photo that you captured this past year. I'm going to get to my tips for better photos in 2022. You see, I didn't want to just make this video about looking into the past. I wanted to make it looking into the future as well. But the reason I love this tradition so much is because I get to make a beautiful slideshow filled with your favorite photos that you captured this past year. And I love the conversations that it sparks from you taking the time to look back through your pictures and figure out which one speaks best to you. It does not need to be the technically best picture in your library. It needs to be your favorite photo for whatever reason that may be. And I'll just say that I often think people are hesitant to participate because they don't think they have a worthy photo. It's not true. If you're watching this video, you have a worthy photo. You do just need to make sure it's 4,000 pixels on the long side so that it looks good in a 4K slideshow. And you need to make sure you submit it by the end of the day, December 24th. I'm going to pick just one. Sorry, you need to submit just one. I'm not picking your favorite photo of 2021. I reserve the right actually to not include any of your photos if you try to make me pick. Submit just one. If you accidentally submit more than one, just send me an email or reach out on social media. I'm happy to fix that. And this year, do you want to submit suggestions for the music? If you do, I use Epidemic Sound. I have the link to their catalog right down below. Follow that link, find a song, send me a suggestion. I'll give you a shout out at the end of the video if I use your suggestion. All of the links you need, the guidelines, the submission, the Epidemic Sound, are all right down below this video. I can't wait to see your favorite photos of 2021. But now, let's talk about 3 simple tips for making better photos in 2022. And the first is simplifying. You're out there in the world, somewhere, and something catches your eye. The subject. You bring the camera up to your eye, you are focused on that subject because you had all of these other external factors helping you notice the subject, from the sounds, the smells, the feel of the place. But there might be a lot of stuff going on around that subject that you don't necessarily see. But when you present this photo to your viewer in a 2D picture, that stuff is going to be distracting from your subject. So I want you to pause a moment and evaluate the scene and ask yourself what you can do to simplify. Try the BBB approach. Background check. Is there anything bright or distracting back there? Any awkward intersections? What can you do to minimize those? Maybe move a little left, a little right, zoom in, choose a different aperture. Those are a few options. Second B, border patrol. Make a complete trip around all 4 sides and corners of your composition. Is there anything poking in that's going to draw your viewer away? Is there another story that's starting to show up that's going to confuse your viewer as to what the point is of this picture? Figure out how to eliminate that. And finally, boost. What elements can you use in the frame to strengthen your subject? Are there leading lines? Through thoughtful framing or the play of light, can you make sure that the subject that caught your eye is going to be incredibly and readily apparent to your viewer? Now, when you finish all of the BBBs, take a moment, take the photo, and then, if you have time, review the playback. In the viewfinder, if you have a mirrorless, I love that distraction-free view you get using the viewfinder. Make any adjustments you need, capture again if necessary. My second tip, wait. Wait for the clouds to clear. Wait for the light to get better. Wait for the subject to be framed better, or at least avoid awkward intersections. Or wait for a more interesting story. Too often I see photographers and travelers planning trips that don't provide the time to wait at beautiful scenes. In 2022, I recommend you travel slower. And that doesn't mean some far-flung travel necessarily. It might simply mean walking down the block. Now, you are probably going to end up taking fewer photos, but the ones you do will be more impactful. And yes, I know sometimes you wait and you get skunked. Nothing ever develops better. But I promise you, from my experience, that waiting often enough pays off that it's worth the wait. My final tip, Don't cheat the shutter speed rule. This is a back to the basics tip, but it's one that I see trip people up more often than I want. Your shutter speed should be at least 2 times your focal length to avoid blur from shaking the camera when you take a picture. If you're shooting on a full frame camera at 50 millimeters, your shutter speed should be at least 1/100th of a second. But you also need to consider the subject. Are you trying to capture a sloth, a soccer player, a flying bird? So take some time to study shutter speed charts and figure out what is best for the subject you're trying to capture and what is best for the story you're trying to tell. Because maybe you do want a little blur out at the wingtips, or maybe you all want it completely sharp. That's it. 3 simple tips that I think will help you make better photos in 2022. And if you want to join a community of people working to be better photographers, well, you can visit photorec.tv/pen to learn more about that. Do you have a tip? I'd love to hear it. Leave it in the comments below. And now it's time for your homework. Look through your catalog, your library of photos that you captured this past year, find your favorite, and send it to me. I'm also curious, how many photos did you take this year? Feel free to leave that in the comment, and if you want to guess how many I captured this year? I'll be back in a few days to let you know. Happy holidays. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.